For the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, Nigeria has been having challenges that are beckoning and waiting for answers and solutions. That is why we are bringing to you our program, State of the Nation. And this is going to come up on our flagship program this morning on ITV. I am hereby inviting you to join me, Bola Bakare, your host, on State of the Nation, so that we can hasten the motions that brings national development. It's going to be a regular basis on Tuesdays. Make it a date with me. I'll be there waiting for you, and then we shall discuss Nigeria on an holistic level.
Welcome back. It's another beautiful Tuesday morning on your station, ITV, from Mbappe Hills here in Abuja. You are on to your regular lofty program, State of the Nation, where we hasten the motions for national development. This morning, we shall be taking a good look at what is bedeviling us and ways round it. By that, I mean security and the need for state police. Security is an albatross on us as we speak. On a daily basis, it is kidnap, kidnap, kidnap. On a daily basis, it is death, death, death. I do not like counting numbers. I am not a morbid person. But the thing is, we are in dire straits, and the situation is staring us in the face. We are now trying to foster, this morning we shall try and foster a solution that most people, even governors, are asking for, which is the creation of state policing. With me in the studio this morning is my brother, Barrister Mike Usaha. With him, we shall be doing justice to this very, very, very cogent topic, that is security and the need for state policing. The news is rife. The news is out there. The news is rampant. That the bandits, I don't want to call them bandits, they have become terrorists. They are on us on a regular basis. Every time we're calling our military, oh, what are our military doing? They should be here, they should be there, they should be there. But I would like to say one thing. Our military is not cut out for that kind of work. They are cut out for external aggression and total warfare. They are not cut out for going into houses, knowing who to attack, who not to attack. When an army goes to war, they go to war all out. What am I saying here? What I'm saying is, once the army clears the ground, it is the duty of the police force to now maintain that ground that has been cleared. And as we speak, there is a shortfall. That is why we are looking at a situation whereby we look inwards. And that is the purview of the police on a state level. Let me engage my brother here in the studio. Barrister Osar, nice to see you again. And welcome.
Well, good to see you.
Thank you.
Really good to see you. It's my pleasure to be with you this morning.
Same here. The problem we have needs no saying. It happens to us on a daily basis.
Yes.
And like I said earlier, it seems the army is not cut out for it. So it is easy for them to be overwhelmed. The institution of government, which is the Nigerian police force that we have to take care of it, they look inadequate. They look like, what's the best word for it? Are they overwhelmed?
Well, Bola, thank you once again for asking me to join you on set.
Thank you. Thank you too.
I think the situation we have on our hands right now is one that literally requires all hands to be on deck. Very much as we would like the police to discharge their constitutional responsibilities, which you have eloquently elaborated. The truth of the matter is that we have a critical security situation on our hands, and literally all hands must be on deck.
Of course, yes.
And if you ask me, I would say not just the armed forces, not just the army, not just the armed forces, but practically every person who is in a position to get us out of the current woods we're in should be involved in the process of ensuring that we have a much more stable entity than we currently do. But you know this probably better than I do, that the primary purpose of any government at all, according to Section 14, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution, is the security and welfare of the people.
That's right, absolutely correct.
So, I mean, if we have a government in place, and truly we have a federal government in place, we have the respective state governments in place,
of course,
and security and the welfare of the people continues to be an issue, then there is a problem.
There is a problem, of course.
And that is why I say, in all honesty, that we literally need all hands to be on deck.
Yes.
I have been here previously, I think with Jide, my friend Jide Ojo, right here in this studio, where I canvassed the position that we probably, and this was like 3-4 months or thereabout, and I canvassed the position, which I still do canvass right now, that we probably need to declare a state of emergency as far as security is concerned in this country.
Is it nationwide or in specific states?
Nationwide. Well, there is hardly any part of Nigeria that is not involved in this unfortunate situation. A few days ago, we heard that a high-ranking traditional ruler, Kaduna, was kidnapped. He has been released, all right, but the fact alone that a highly respected traditional ruler will be kidnapped. And this is coming on the heels of attempts a few weeks back on the life of yet another emir, this time around I think in Kebbi also. It was just an attempt, it was not successful, but it tells you that no one is invincible, really.
That situation is getting out of hand.
This is it. You know, we have lost count of the number of kids we have currently in the hands of bandits, whom you prefer to refer to as terrorists.
The terrorists, they no longer
bandits. We have lost count. Yesterday on social media, I watched a short video of Senator Sheikh Hussaini, who visited Bethel Secondary School again in Kaduna, and was consoling a wailing mother and all of that. So it's all over the place. The story in north central Nigeria is not different. In the southeastern part of Nigeria is not different. In southwestern Nigeria is not different. So it's not just the northeast.
It's all over the place. It's all over the place.
It's all over the place.
But what we're trying to do this morning is we're looking for solutions. And one of the solutions is the element of state police. When I say state police, it means a situation whereby we bring solutions closer to the people. I was with one of my colleagues this morning, and we were trying to think about all this kidnapping and the rest of it. And I said, there is a shortfall in the activities of our security apparatus. And that in terms of communication, because some of these parents of kidnapped kids said the moment the terrorists called them, they gave the numbers to the police. Unfortunately, my friend was able to canvass a situation that says, how do you think, or what makes you think by giving the number to the nearest policeman will effect a change? When that policeman is going to wait for an order, either from a CP in the state or from Abuja, which brings to the fore the case that we are trying to tidy up this morning. If it had been a case of a state police, we are not going too far in command and control. If you get what I mean. If it gets to the DPO can immediately get across to the CP, who will give an instant order without having to wait for Abuja.
So Bola, we are dealing with a fundamental constitutional situation.
Okay, I agree.
That is a lot deeper than what we see on the surface.
Yes.
Bola, you know, we are a federation. According to the 1999 Constitution, we are a federation that is supposed to be practicing federalism. But our brand of federalism seems to be unique.
What makes it unique? Not because it's cute.
It is unique, not in that positive light in which one will want to see it, but it is unique in a negative sense.
Okay.
The Constitution says we are a federal state. But practically everything we do in terms of devolution of powers, in terms of relations between the center and the states, everything we do paints us in the light of a unitary rather than a federal state.
Yes.
You know, you have spoken about the issue of state police. It is an agitation that has been on for quite some time, especially within the last few months of the debate around the review of the Constitution. The time is ripe for it.
Okay, I agree.
For two reasons. One, as a federal state, like if Nigeria is truly a federal state, there is absolutely no reason why the states, as a tier of government, should not have its, security, if you like, or intelligence wings.
That's right.
It is not for nothing that state governors are referred to as state chief security officers of their respective states. But Bola, this is just a name. Like you rightly, like the analogy you made a short while ago, hardly does any governor control any troops.
No.
Even with the police is a federal institution, and the governor, depending on how creative they are, will exert some kind of influence. But in terms of raw control or direction, you have absolutely no control over a commissioner of police that has been posted to your state. So why should it be that way? And that's a completely different argument entirely from the level, the thing about efficiency. Arguments have been canvassed against the question of state policing. Some state governments can barely pay salaries of public servants within their states. Some are indebted, even federal institutions.
But even at that, the moment you devolve the states, the police force to the states, the same money you use them paying them at the federal level, you might as well transfer it to the state level.
Yes.
That will kind of suffice.
Well, you're going to be dealing with two situations. So what we see in other democracies that are federal in nature like ours is you have a federal policing system.
That's right.
But you also have a policing system at the state level. And the jurisdictions are very clear. There are points of convergence. There is collaboration and all of that.
That's
but
right.
Each level knows
their limits and their operations.
Exactly. So I totally agree with you. If you had state police, one, you will have a larger number of hands and tools that you can easily deploy. Okay. And you would have hands and tools that are more familiar with the environment.
Absolutely.
Hands and tools that will probably understand local languages and speak in them. And there will be efficiency in terms of policing. There will be efficiency in terms of intelligence gathering and all of that. And I have always said, and this is really the rock solid bottom of the problem we have on our hands. There's been a collapse of intelligence gathering in this country. So whether it is about the federal police or it's about the armed forces or whatever, we're dealing with a situation where we're constantly working after the fact, not before an incident occurs.
Let me make an incursion there on what you said and then take a few facts from what you just said. Like you rightly said, the canvas for state policing is based on the fact that it gives local content to policing. Because I used to cite one analogy. When the war in the Northeast started, the only incursion the military could make was by the use of what they call civilian JTF. Because they are the ones that know the part.
Absolutely.
They show you the role, they show you this, they show you that. And I normally use another analogy of Mungo Park, who said he discovered River Niger. It was our brother, our grandparents, that paddled the boat and told him, Mr. Here is River Niger. So what I'm saying in essence is, there has to be that element of local content in policing.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the factor earlier. I am a Yoruba man. If I were a policeman and you take me to the north, I will be a sore thumb because I don't speak the language.
You can't blend in.
I can't blend. Nobody will give me info. Nobody will do anything.
That's true.
That brings me to what IBB was trying to do some years back when he was there. He provided a solution that every policeman should be sent back to his state or to the contiguous state because of that element of communication and info gathering.
Yeah. If you have state police, you won't need to do that. You won't, because of course, yeah, there will be situations where expertise may not be easily available at the local level, and you may have to source expertise from outside of the state. But substantially, you would have a police workforce that is made up of the locals who understand the situation very well. And don't forget, Bola, the state police is not an abolition of the federal police. The federal police will still be there, and it will still discharge its responsibility based on this constitutional mandate.
That's right.
But the state police will also be there and also discharge its mandate. There have been fears here and there, and in my view, unfounded fears about the use to which governors can put state policing systems if and when they do come in place. And I say with all due respect that this is unfounded. Again, I go back to the question of the efficacy of our constitutional principle of federalism.
Yes.
This idea that once a certain system is not working, we must throw it away and find a new one or find a stopgap measure is for me a bit problematic.
Yes. Well, naturally, yes.
And I will tell you why.
Go ahead.
We have a local government system that is almost collapsing.
Moribund.
Principally because state governors are in control of state independent, quote and unquote, independent electoral commissions. And the argument in the last few months, particularly with respect to the ongoing constitutional review process, is divest governors of this power and make local government elections controlled by INEC. And I'm saying, when people make these arguments, do they have it at the back of their minds that we are really a federal state? So the stopgap measure is, well, divest governors of the powers to appoint CX and fund them and take, you can imagine conducting county elections in the United States by the federal.
It will be abysmal.
That is precisely it. So if we have issues with elections that are happening in the states,
we should take care of
it.
We should
deal with that. We should deal with it. That is what we need to deal with it. And I make the same argument with respect to state policing. If a governor is inclined towards using state police for purposes that are not lawful or illegal, then we should deal with that issue, not through
the state level.
We should be able to find ways, and there are ways through the law that we can deal with these situations, rather than just throw a system away because it has not worked or someone is circumventing the law or something like that.
Thank you.
We are decidedly a federal state.
Agreed.
And we must carry on in the way that shows us as being a federal state.
Let me paint you another scenario here that is good to go when we are thinking in terms of state policing. Whenever these terrorists and bandits pick up their ransoms, which is always in tens or hundreds of millions, we know what our currencies look like. 100 million is going to be about 4x4 brick, as high as this and that far. How do they handle that money? How do they launder the money? The simple thing is, the monies are not being spent in the bushes. The monies are being spent in town. So they bring those monies back into town, and their collaborators are the ones that launder it for them. In a case of state policing, that's where I'm going to. In a case of state policing, that is where the work will get done appropriately. Because a local man will know a man who is going outside of his bounds in terms of expenditures.
Absolutely.
A man who doesn't have a car yesterday overnight, he just has about 4 cars doing transportation business.
Absolutely.
The local policeman will be able to say, you are an overnight
Rich man.
I'll rather call him a nightmare. You are an overnight nightmare. So look at it from that angle.
Yes.
With what we haven't, the insecurity we're going through now,
yes.
and the local content that spells state policing.
There is
of what I just said.
There is really no question about the fact that we would have a more effective policing regime if we have locals involved in the process.
That's right.
But like I said in my opening remarks, if I may call them remarks, Bola, we're dealing with an extremely very difficult situation, and literally all hands must be on deck. I watched a video on social media yesterday. The authenticity is not there.
The veracity is not verified.
Exactly. But it was a video of a policeman who was a bit veiled, you know, not to reveal his identity, but who was saying that they have instructions not to go after bandits who are operating in a particular area. So that tells you. Please tell me, how is it possible that you can actually move even 50 kids, not to talk of 300, not to talk of 200, from one location to another,
and there will be,
and there's no indication. You know,
it leaves a lot of questions.
These are the fundamental questions we need to ask. How is it possible that ransom is paid in huge sums of money like what you described
could not be trailed
a short while ago, and the spending is not obvious to members of the intelligence community? So there is a lot that we really need to look at. And I totally agree with you once again when you say we should have police at the state level. But it's a bit beyond just having police. We need to put certain measures in place. And we need to go to the rock bottom of some of these issues that concern our security as a country.
Naturally,
you know,
yes.
A lot has happened, and a lot continues to happen that we need to look at from a very critical point of view. Otherwise, we will just be window dressing. You know, we have gotten to a point of inertia, Bola. You turn the pages of newspapers, or you watch on TV, or you listen to radio. 300 kids kidnapped, 50 persons killed. And the usual response is, oh, poor guys. You move on to the next topic.
Because it's fast becoming the norm.
Exactly, and that's the point we have gotten to right now, and that is a sad point for a nation to be at.
Kindly factor in. You see, I'm still particular about our topic, security and the need for state policing. If we don't address this, regions are beginning to ask for what I call in quote state policing per se.
Yes.
In the southwest, the Amotekun is there saying, okay, if we cannot be saved, let us look for ways of trying and taking care of ourselves. Amotekun was put together. It might be an unarmed group, but that is an indication of the yearning of the people.
Yes.
Like you rightly said, before we can go into that, it takes a lot of constitutional amendments here and there. There are some things we should fast track. Should we be dying on a daily basis? Should our kids be kidnapped on a daily basis before we start making changes?
No.
Can you look into this? Like what, from what you proceeded along the lines, can you give a fusion between the problem we have, these dire straits that we are in, and the factor of state policing being able to kind of douse it down a little bit?
I have said it, and I say it one more time, that there's absolutely no question about the fact that having policing at the state level will bring about a certain level of efficiency and effectiveness in policing. And if I were in a position to advise the National Assembly, for instance, I would say that even if we're not going to take the whole constitutional amendment process on board, we can isolate those areas of the Constitution that, you know, kind of ensure some level of security and deal with them while, you know, expeditiously while we're considering other general areas of constitutional amendment.
Okay.
You know, so Pick, for instance, security. And remember, don't forget, I said that the security and welfare of the people is the primary responsibility of governance. So it should be given priority, you know. I pick those areas. So whether it is in terms of revenue allocation, whether it is in terms of policing at local level, or, you know, the kind of things that should be made available to our armed forces and all of that, pick them out, deal with them expeditiously while we're coming up with other areas in the whole constitutional review process.
Thank you very much, my brother. We are getting some footage here in terms of our feedback mechanism. This one was from Dr. George Ojige Opatako on the case of state policing. What he said here is, you cannot fetch water with a basket. A state that is not structured to harness the natural resources and generate its financial empowerment cannot sustain the bills of security forces beyond state police. Just like what you said earlier.
Yes, yes.
That most of all the funding for the state police is going to come from the federal level. But at the same time, I can say something that is at par with it. The Amotekun is being funded by the states.
Yeah, sure.
So that can be, we can have that as an improvement towards having our state police.
And it's also about our priorities. What is our priority as a country? What is our priority as a government? What is our priority as a people? If security is our priority, and we believe sincerely that having police at the state level can actually, you know, push us in the direction in which we desire to be, then no resources should be spared. No resources should be spared. But I totally agree with the gentleman. Look, there is a lot that has to be said and done as far as our, you know, structure of our country, Nigeria, is concerned. This idea of local resources, which he raised, is something that is fundamental, and I am happy it's receiving attention at, you know, I mean, in the ongoing constitutional review processes.
That's right.
You know, with a certain level of resources and an independent level of, you know, resource mobilization at the state level, there is a way in which the states, particularly where you have elected leaders that are interested in the welfare of the people, can deploy these resources too.
Oh, my brother Mike, it's been nice having you on the program. I wish I can have you for more time, but the thing is, time is a constraint in this issue.
Absolutely.
My viewers out there, that has been my brother, Barrister Mike Osar, a lawyer, a public affairs analyst, and together we've been doing justice to security and state policing. It is not an easy affair. We're going to tidy it up. Life in itself, like they say, is work in progress. We will get there with all hands, like the language you used when you started out. All hands have to be on deck.
Yes.
Don't go away.